Brown it.
What's up, guys? This is Michael with On the Offside, and today I'm with Derek, Colby, and Matt. We got the whole group back together, so we're going to kind of go ahead and get into it, do a little recap of this weekend. I want to start off, guys, with ETSU, 10-1, beat Mercer, 38-35, SoCon champs, number 7th, I think, on the playoffs for them now, so I think they get a first-round bye out of that as well. Again, I wish I would got to go watch them this year at some point. They're really a phenomenal season. So I just want to start it off on that by acknowledging that. So congrats, go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
Then we'll kind of get moving into it just a little bit. We'll go ahead and start, I guess, Bama and Arkansas. I seen the final score, Matt. I didn't get to watch the game. No, it's probably a little closer than what you wanted it to be. I think 42-35 was final score on that one. I did see though where quarterback had 5 touchdowns. I'm really gonna push him there for that Heisman race because Ohio State's quarterback, I think he had a pretty big game as well. So be interesting to see how that goes. The only thing I can really say, I guess, like I said, I didn't really get to watch much of the game, so looks like they let Arkansas put up quite a few points there, as far as on the defensive side of things, but offense looked like it was rolling, so another much-needed Bama win, especially going into Auburn and then get ready for the SEC championship. So,
yeah, it was another one of those games that it was down to the last minute. Arkansas trying to get an onside attempt to go for a potential winning touchdown drive. 2 weeks ago, we saw the defense step up and pretty much win the game versus LSU. This week, it was the offense doing it. Bryce Young, 561 yards, 5 touchdowns, 31 of 40. The dude put the team on his back. Literally the best game any Alabama QB has ever had, ever. That's definitely encouraging to see out of him. Still waiting on Bama to play a complete game, offense, defense, and special teams. We haven't gotten it yet. Tell you what, though, they better have it for December 4th or whenever the SEC championship is, because they're going to need it against Georgia. Hopefully, they're playing a down Auburn team this week, and we'll talk about that later. But all roads point to Georgia right now, so got to work on getting better. Defense and offense have got to click at the same time eventually.
Yeah, I thought the defense looked a little shaky, obviously, letting Arkansas hang in. The big takeaway for me is seeing their top 4 offensive players have big games. So, you had Bryce Young. Robinson wasn't great, but it was a solid game, over 100. And then 2 top receivers, Mechie and Williams balled out. So it's not seeing the offense click on that level. It's just like, Matt said, though, seeing both of them click, it's going to happen soon. And, this week and then against Georgia. So, hopefully they'll get it together. I got faith in Saban to do it. So I'm not that concerned. So we'll see. Nice outing from the offense, though.
Yeah, I really don't have much else to add to that. I feel like everybody's pretty much covered it. I was going to say this, though, because, I know we'll probably talk about Ohio State a little bit. But the numbers between Stroud and Bryce Young are very comparable. You're looking at 3,584 yards compared to 34 and 68. That was Bryce Young first. Bryce Young's got 38 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions. Stroud's 36 passing touchdowns to 5 interceptions. So it's very close. I think it's going to be a close Heisman race. And, these next couple of games are going to go a long way to determining who wins that. Both teams have rivalry games. Both teams have conference championship games. I would say Bryce is probably in the driver's seat, but Stroud's just right there with him too.
Yeah, for sure. Agree with you guys on that. But Bama in a good position, I think. Definitely get the SEC championship and potentially get themselves in the playoffs. So big game for them there and big win. So kind of moving on. Kind of keep it quick on this. Tennessee played South Bama, and I absolutely demolished them. 60-14. So what I wanted to see, I said last week we shouldn't be talking much about this game. So not a lot to say. Tennessee dominated it, and that's what I wanted to see out there, and hoping for the same outcome this coming weekend, which we'll get on to later on. But definitely want to see them finish strong. Potential to go 7-5 and be in a bowl game. So.
Yeah, really not much to add here. Tennessee took care of business. Fully expect them to, be at 7-5, take care of everything with Vandy. I think the one thing that I really liked is we had multiple people get involved and multiple people score, which happens when you're blowing out people. But I think it just means that Tennessee's getting better. It's not just like one guy who's just doing everything. And I think it credit to Heupel and everything he's done with this offense. And I'm excited to take care of business with Vandy and see what bowl game we get.
Yeah, I'm just happy to get in a bowl game. That's about it. Didn't see it happening this year, and Heupel's done a hell of a job. So just happy to be in this spot.
Yep, great comeback season for UT. Started off a little shaky, couple of tough games. I think when you're looking back at the season now, the Pitt game looks like a winnable game, and it was winnable at the time, but even more so now. I think those teams play again at this point in the year, and Tennessee's probably favored to win that game by 7-10.
Same with Florida.
Huh?
Same with Florida.
Yeah. Now, Florida's another matter because I think Florida is a better team than Tennessee. They just have a dumpster fire, which got fired and is out of there now. But, to your point, if a Dan Mullen coached Florida team at this point in the season plays Tennessee probably wins. Good season for Tennessee. Good stuff for Heupel. Fan base has to stick with him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I guess the key, just kind of keep building from that and have some patience there as well. So I did see an interesting thing. If they possibly won out, both of them, that it could be a potential Tennessee-Florida bowl game. I don't know. We'll see.
Man,
I wouldn't mind having another chance at it, though.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that kind of wraps up on that game. One thing I want to mention, Ohio State just dominated Michigan State, and I think further sealed that kind of for their playoff chances, honestly. They got to get past Michigan coming into this next week, and but I did not expect. I expected Ohio State to win, and not be that close, but I did not expect it to be that level.
Yeah, that was that was a beat down. We got to see Ohio State's receivers, on full display. All three are nasty. Stroud's put himself up there with Young, in the Heisman talks, obviously. But it was kind of shocking. We all had an idea that Ohio State was going to win that game, but not in that kind of fashion. But they held Walker to, nothing. They completely shut him down and offense balled out. So I don't see them, having an issue next week either. They're just going to keep rolling.
Yeah, I think what they did is they proved that they're one of the teams that belongs in the playoff. Like, I don't care that they lost to Oregon back in September, the second week of the season. They're not that team. They've gotten so much better. Stroud's gotten so much better, and they 100% deserve to be in the playoff. And I feel pretty confident in saying they're one of the three best teams in the country.
Yeah, totally agree. And at the risk of veering off, I'll start off this discussion. A huge win versus Michigan State, just an absolute beatdown. It's clear cut now in my mind. Georgia's the number one team. I think Ohio State and Bama are pretty even both have these extremely lethal offenses, potential to just hang a ridiculous amount of points. Obviously, looking at this week, Ohio State looked like the better team, but I think that can kind of flop from week to week. And then you've got everyone else beneath them. But I will say this, a 2-loss team in my mind is getting into the playoffs this year. And we lost Michael. All right, folks, sorry about that technical difficulty. I was saying, though, a 2-loss team, in my opinion, is getting into the playoffs. It's just a matter of, is it Ohio State or is it Bama? If Bama loses to Georgia but keeps the game close, I think they have a good shot. If Ohio State beats Michigan, they're in. They're in for sure. If they lose to Michigan and Bama is a 2-loss team, I think Ohio State might get in over Bama. I don't know. That one's really close. It really depends how Bama plays Georgia at that point.
Yeah.
But bottom line, I don't think you can put in Oklahoma or Oklahoma State, whichever one of those two win in their head-to-head matchup. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the committee sees it differently, but the committee's already shown us they really don't care about Oklahoma at all. Like, they've seen their garbage schedule and how they've barely scraped out these wins, and they've ranked them as such. So yeah, I think a 2-loss Bama or Ohio State will get in if it comes to that.
I don't necessarily agree, but I guess we'll see. I don't know. It's not that I don't think Alabama's one of the 4 best teams in the country if they do lose. I just think it's one of those things that they're going to look at it in terms of seeding too. And it comes down to a lot of things, but if Bama loses again, I think the committee would have a hard time putting keeping Alabama seated ahead of Cincinnati. And I don't think they'd want Georgia, Alabama again. I don't think Bama.
But who do you put in that 4th spot then? Because if Ohio State beats Michigan, they have 2 losses. So it has to be Oklahoma or Oklahoma State.
I think they would put in Oklahoma State. I'm not saying I like it or I agree with it. I'm just saying I don't think the committee's to the point where they're going to put a 2-loss team in yet. I guess we'll see. But
I feel like if Bama plays a 10-point game versus Georgia, they can't keep them out. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just don't think that they'll. But then it comes down to that whole, like, where do you put them in the rankings? And
I mean, they may put them at 3 just for the sake of not having the Bama-Georgia matchup. Have Georgia versus Cincy, which also no one wants to see. But at this point, somebody's going to play Cincy if things continue like this, and it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. I don't know, and we'll see. And I don't think they'll knock Oklahoma State for a loss that they had several weeks ago against.
Yeah, but it was Iowa State.
Yeah, I know. Again, not saying I like it, just saying I don't think they'll put a 2-loss team in.
Yeah, we'll see kind of how it plays out. I mean, we'll definitely have some time to have more discussion on this as well. Yeah, it was a weekend just kind of for, how the playoffs was going to go and stuff, which we get some of these big ranked match teams here late in the year. So it's always exciting to see as well. We'll go ahead and move on into the NFL. If you guys are ready, I don't think I'm ready for it, but I guess, something different I want to do on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and include all 3 of our teams: Titans, Saints, Panthers. All 3 lost this weekend. Titans I'll just go ahead and make a statement on them. So frustrating, man. Like, you win 6 in a row against teams that were all playoff teams last year, and then you drop it to the Texans, who are 1-8. Like, just the team that just plays down sometimes to their opponent. I mean, the example was losing to the Jets. That's the last loss they had was to the Jets, and easily a game where we should be 9-2, but here we are. Tannehill threw 4 interceptions. You just can't do that. I didn't really get to check much on the other 2 games, but I went ahead and give you guys the opportunity to throw in on those as well. I did check the scores on it, though.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the Titans. That was bad. I believe we've talked about it on other episodes, how we always seem to play to our opponent, whether it's good or bad. And it's been like that in the whole Vrabel era. I mean, I feel like ever since he's been there, we just play to our opponent. And you can't keep doing that. The whole offense is hurt. Any weapon that we have is out. It happened this week. I'm not saying that's the whole reason why we lost, but it certainly didn't contribute. You know, AJ went out. Marcus Johnson, who had a good week last week, went out. The run game was surprisingly not horrendous. Still not great, but you know, we got down early and Tannehill had to throw 50-some passes in the rain. You just can't do that. But, you know, hopefully we can move on next week. Got a tough opponent, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much summarize the Tennessee Titans with injuries right now. Injuries all over the field, and I'm not going to say that this wasn't ugly because it was ugly, but I do think the Texans are better than 1-8 shows when Tyrod's playing quarterback. Maybe not much, but you know, you can't just, in my opinion, the Texans aren't really a 1-8 team. They're not good, but they're not that bad with Tyrod at quarterback, and he scored a couple of touchdowns this week. But yeah, injuries for the Titans, and hopefully they can get it together and guys can get healthy before the postseason starts.
Yeah, this was a game where, I don't know, it felt more like the Titans missed Henry this game. Tannehill just, I don't know, he didn't have it this week. He's not that superstar quarterback. He doesn't make the plays like Mahomes, but he's pretty consistent most of the time. He makes the passes he should make, but it's just uncharacteristic decisions and then performance. You really miss Henry to just come in and kind of take the load off him. You're beat up with injuries. It's a loss. You're still looking like you're going to have an easy run to the playoffs. So try not to sweat it too much. You're right. It is just like the loss to the Jets. You look back and it's one that should be in the win column, but is what it is. It's the NFL. You never know.
Yep, and Matt, Derek, I'll just go ahead get my takeaway kind of on the Panthers and the Saints. Matt, Saints, quarterback, man, is just I didn't see how yours is playing, but injuries is another thing for the Saints too. Just hard to tell how the season's really going to go. Derek, on the Panthers, I don't know, maybe Cam Newton some time here to start, really driving with it and let McCaffrey do his thing. The defense is still good defense, so have to see kind of how it goes from there as well. But so I wouldn't be in like total panic, but it's definitely rough losses for all of us, I think. You guys have any more you'd like to add?
Yeah, I want to say something about the Panthers. This was the first time really our defense kind of looked vulnerable at times. Couldn't stop Washington whenever they got going. Taylor Heineke looked really good. And I can't get it to load, but I think he was like 16 for 22 passing for 3 touchdowns or something like that. Secondary looked a little weak. Terry McLaurin tore us up. Granted, he's obviously really good. Gibson had almost 100 yards rushing. This was kind of one of the more poor performances from our defense. I'll say this about Cam. I feel like his numbers were misleadingly good. If you watch the game, his passes were not traveling far at all. So, he completed 21 out of 27 passes, which is great, but only went for 189 yards. But at the end of the day, he had 3 touchdowns without any turnovers. So that gives me a lot of promise for him. But, he's going to have to stretch the ball farther downfield if we're going to be able to keep defenses guessing. And we've got to trust him to throw the ball more than – I think I saw his average – like the average yards the ball traveled in the air was like 5.5 yards whenever he threw a pass. So it's like we've got to be able to stretch the field more. We've got guys that can catch the ball deep downfield. I know he's got to get used to everything, and that was probably a part of it. Long term, I'm not terribly distraught about the team. I still think we have a shot at making the playoffs, but this was a game that we could have won and should have won, and so it stinks to take that step back.
Yeah. it's never good when Taylor Heineke is throwing for 3 touchdowns and no picks against you. So defense definitely struggled against not a very good offense. As for Cam, I get what Derek's saying, but he's been there a week, and that's as good as he could perform. Only being there 1 week. Granted, it's like halfway the same team, but still, short passes aren't the worst thing. At least he held on to the ball. With that offense, you just got to give McCaffrey and DJ Moore the ball and let them do something. And sometimes that's just short passes. I think eventually he'll try to stretch the field in the next, couple weeks. Maybe we see a Robbie Anderson sighting, who knows? But that is still a tough loss. So kind of good for Ron. I like seeing Ron, come into Carolina and kind of get the respect that he was due. But, still a tough loss.
Yeah, I didn't watch the game. Looking at the stat line, Washington with 40 rush attempts to a few different guys and almost 200 yards. So I'd say that was their bread and butter. They were able to establish the line of scrimmage, which is uncharacteristic against that Panthers defense, and we've talked about that. Yeah, Cam, jury is still in session. We will see. I thought he looked good from the plays I saw, but again, didn't watch the whole game, so I'm sure, like Derek said, that stat line's kind of skewed. But he did take care of the ball. Heineke took care of the ball. No interceptions for either team. It just looked like Washington was running the ball, and when you run the ball, it just opens up so much for your offense. So, yeah, that's about it.
Matt, you got anything you want to add in, or you guys want to add in for the Saints?
That I want to add in about the Saints. No, I thought I have a little song though. You ready? You ready? Who dat? Who dat? Everyone is gonna beat the Saints. Yeah, it's what it feels like. I mean, I said I thought the Eagles would win. I think the Eagles were a better team than their record showed. Jalen Hurts honestly looked pretty decent. Devontae Smith is really kind of fitting in there in Philly, hitting his stride. Trevor didn't take care of the ball, which is what I was happy he was doing as a Saints QB. He had 2 picks. One was a pick 6. It feels bad to be a Saints fan. And there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It's not like, we get Jameson back at, week 16, 17, whatever. We don't. The season's over. You may end up with a wild card game. Maybe you scrape out a win there and make it to the second round of playoffs, but I don't expect much. So you're just kind of taking your hits right now. And I saw earlier today, just before we started doing this, they signed Taysom Hill to a contract extension, 4 years, $40 million. Mixed deal on that. It's clear Sean Payton wants to utilize him. Whether he is that valuable or not is another debate. I don't know. I like Taysom Hill, but I don't like him $40 million over 4 years. So, is what it is.
And the deal could be up to $95 million if he starts.
Yeah, if he goes to starting quarterback. Yeah.
So,
which, to be fair, he already had a ridiculous contract, and
He did.
he was due to expire, and they were going to have to pay like $8 million or something, and I can't remember. You know how all that contract stuff works.
$8.9 million in dead cap money.
Yes, that's what I'm looking for.
So just give me more money.
Yeah. So, is what it is.
Yeah, that thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's tough.
it's going to be a tough rest of the year for you, Matt. I hate, quarterback play not going to be there unless Taysom Hill gets to start. You had Kamara out the past 2 weeks. The receivers, good golly, it's not great. But, the Eagles might be a playoff team, so that might not be a terrible loss. They're on the up and up. But it's just looking bad for the Saints, and this wasn't a good performance.
Yeah, I agree with Colby. I was actually going to say that. I think if the Eagles snuck in the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I think they figured out how to run the ball. and Jalen only has to do so much with his arm. But Miles Sanders coming back from injury was big for them. They they don't have a bad defense, and Jalen's starting to link up with Devontae Smith a lot too. So I could see them sneaking into the playoffs for sure. But it's just uncharacteristic of the Saints to give up 242 rushing yards. So that was pretty much my takeaway. Whether Alvin Kamara plays or not, still that's not good. I think the big thing for them, the big news for them, is that contract extension with Taysom, because how much money does that leave them to re-sign a lot of these other guys? Like, how much do they have available to re-sign Jameis now? I read that in the article. They're like, are they going to be able to bring him back? It's like, what type of a position are you putting yourselves in? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Also, we want to add that Matt will be trying out for The Voice soon. So we just want to put that out there so you guys make sure you check it out. I'm ready to move on from this weekend if you guys are. So we can kind of go ahead and get into it for this coming weekend. And we can start with Bama and Auburn. I think it's a good place to start. I'll be honest, my prediction, I think Bama's going to take care of Auburn. Bo Nix is out. I would have been more concerned had that not happened, but I don't see. Auburn's had some losses here the last couple of weeks, aren't been good, and I don't see them really. They're going to give Bama a little bit of a fight because that's just what it is. It's the type of game that they play, but yeah, it's kind of a quick take on that. Also, if it looks like I'm about to cry on the show right now, I have been kind of fighting the cold a little bit, so I do apologize for that, guys. But I'll let Matt go ahead and take it on the Bama or whoever.
Yeah. I'm sorry that Michael is getting emotional when thinking about this absolute beatdown that's coming Auburn's way. Just kidding. Auburn by 30. No. I think this is a game Bama will win handily. They should. It's at Auburn, and yeah, it's Auburn, but let's be honest, this Auburn team is at an all-time low for this season. Just lost to South Carolina, which is pretty inexcusable. So Bama really needs to come out. All I'm looking for them to do is win by, 3 or 4 scores and keep people healthy. Please, no injuries in a stupid game against Auburn. Keep everyone healthy. Get some good momentum going into that big SEC championship game. Yeah, it's about all that needs to be said.
Yep. I'm with Matt here. I think it's going to be an easy win. Probably a beatdown, honestly. I think it's going to be a 20-plus point victory. And once again, to echo Matt, you just want to keep everybody healthy. I'm not saying this is a gimme game, but it kind of is. It should be. And you don't want to lose, one of your big guys in a game like that, leading up to Georgia. So hopefully they can take care of business and come away healthy.
Yeah, those rivalry games have a way of sneaking up on you, and that's why Auburn is going to still get destroyed because they're terrible. So I picked South Carolina as beating Auburn last week, and that happened, and I stand by that, not because South Carolina's good, but because Auburn is really bad. And the spread on this game is 19.5, and I will be floored if Alabama does not cover that. So
yeah, I think we all can kind of agree on that this week. I mean, Auburn's they are at an all-time low in the season right now, so not a good time to be at an all-time low and have to face Bama as well. So kind of move on. Tennessee's playing Vanderbilt. I expect Tennessee to win by 3 touchdowns or more. Vanderbilt's been rough all season. They do tend to be that team that used to anyway. It's in the state of Tennessee that would give them a little bit of trouble, and in years past that beat them some. But Vandy's just weak this year, and it would be disappointing if Tennessee doesn't take care of business and beats them by at least 21. Finish the season strong and get ready for the bowl game. That's my expectation going into this weekend.
Yeah, I mean that's it. The line on this game is 31 points, which is massive for a conference game. But it's I don't even think people are asking Heupel about this game whenever they talk to him at this point. It's like, how do you feel about what you've already accomplished this season, and what are you looking forward to in your future at Tennessee? And just Vanderbilt's terrible. I mean, they went 0-10 last year. They've got 2 wins this season. They lost to ETSU, but go Bucks. And yeah, Tennessee should just wipe the floor with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I feel like Tennessee has to cover the spread on this one. Vanderbilt's offense is absolutely horrendous. I forgot what they're averaging, like 15 points a game or something like that. It's terrible. Tennessee might put 15 up in the first 4 minutes. So, they just need to take care of business. It's a gimme.
Yeah, game should honestly be over by early in the second quarter if it goes that long, especially with this high-power Tennessee offense that likes to score and score fast. I'd say they're up 21-plus by the end of the first quarter, honestly. Tennessee's just got to cap off a good first year for Heupel there, so hopefully they get it done.
Yeah, I was being very modest with the saying at least 21 to beat them by, but I would consider it almost concerning and a loss to not at least win by 21 points. So I agree. I think it'll be more, but that was just me saying it at least needs to be that. But like I said, it's one of those games that should be like this past weekend. Hopefully, we're not talking about it very much next weekend, other than what bowl game they're going to. So kind of moving on from these. I know one game I just want a standout game for this weekend is Ohio State and Michigan. It's always a big game. Obviously, both high-ranked teams could have some playoff implications, with it. I do think it's a game Ohio State's going to win. I don't know. Ohio State usually comes out on top in that game, and even when Michigan is, the team that's supposed to win or they're right up there with them, it just doesn't feel like for me, it just doesn't feel like they're going to win this game, especially the way how Ohio State handled Michigan State last weekend. But it's a different weekend, so who knows? But I still think Ohio State wins by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah, I agree. Good for Harbaugh to get another year. I don't like him, but good for him to hang around for another year, saves his job. This is probably his best year that he's had. But he's still not going to beat Ohio State. I mean, that's the bugaboo with him. Can't beat Ohio State. And it's going to continue, at least for another year.
Have you guys met Jim Harbaugh's friend Owen? 0-5 against Ohio State, about to be 0-6. They're just Ohio State's the real deal. That's what it all boils down to. They're going to be reeling off of that big win against Michigan State, and I think it's tough to predict that they do the exact same thing, but they're going to beat Michigan handily at the Big House. So.
Yeah, if you're looking for a football coach who's going to light a fire under your team that will quickly be extinguished and lead to nothing but mediocre seasons for his 20-year tenure there, look no further than Jimothy Harbaugh. No, I honestly, I think as a Bama fan, well, maybe not as a Bama fan, as someone who wants to see Bama in the playoffs, I want Ohio State to kind of beat Michigan and just exit them from this conversation completely. Get them out of here. They don't deserve to be in here. Jim Harbaugh is a joke. But I do think Ohio State wins this. It's a noon game, which is kind of weird for these big matchups. Yeah. But honestly, I'm excited. You wake up, sleep in and get yourself a cup of coffee and sit down to watch College Game Day, and you just coast into that noon game, and you got a good one this week. So I'm excited. It's going to be a good Saturday.
Do you know why though? Because the Michigan State Ohio State game was the big game of the week last week, and it was also at noon. Because nobody cares about the Big Ten. Nobody. Oh, they have one team. Shots fired. No, it's noon. Nobody
Casualties
cares.
recorded.
People are going to get lunch and brunch. They don't even care. Save prime time for the big boys, the real programs.
Wow.
That's weird coming from Derek, the guy who picks Fresno State and San Diego State as his game of the week.
Yeah, I'd rather watch that while going to bed than be like,
Come on.
oh man, I'm so pumped
I
for
hate
game
the
day.
Big Ten
Can't
as
wait to
much as
watch
the next
Minnesota
person.
and Iowa.
I hate the
it
Big
is
Ten
happening.
too, but I'm excited to watch this game.
They're the second best conference. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's like the SEC, and then there's like
True.
No, okay. Here's the thing, though. It's not even about conferences anymore. It's like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, occasionally Clemson, and it's just like everyone else. You have these conference like juggernauts, and people are like, "Oh, this conference is the best," but it's literally just them looking at the top 2 teams in that conference.
Okay, here's a question.
And then you have the ACC, which just don't get me started.
is just terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, would you take Ole Miss? I'm not even looking at anything, but would you take Ole Miss or who's the third team in the Big Ten now? Probably Michigan State, technically, or Michigan.
Yeah, it'd be Michigan State.
I think if you just drew a straight line across the conference between the SEC and the Big Ten, you would see the SEC win 10 out of those 14 games.
I get what you're saying, and I mean, the big thing is that the SEC just has usually the number 1 and number 2 team almost year in year out.
Well, it's recruiting too. Like Vanderbilt
it
is a
is.
top 40 recruiting class. Like it's Vanderbilt. Like every team in the SEC is in the top 50 recruiting, and that's year in and year out.
Yeah, but you've got like 6 teams that consistently are in the top 10 discussion. And it's Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Oklahoma, and I feel like I'm forgetting one. Is that it?
I mean, you could probably argue Auburn, LSU.
Not Auburn. You couldn't argue Auburn as a consistent top 10 team, or LSU for that matter.
They've been there though.
Yeah, they're good teams, but that's the thing I was talking about is consistency. You have these teams that aren't one and done teams like LSU in 19.
Yeah. Same number of national championships as Ohio State, though. Just saying. I don't like the Big Ten.
I don't either.
No, either.
Michael, do you like the Big Ten?
Yeah.
Think we're losing Michael, maybe?
No.
Michael, we need your input on the Big Ten. Can you hear us?
I know you.
I think what Michael would be saying if he was saying anything right now, it would be, I get so pumped watching College Game Day, and then the games actually start, and it's Ohio State beating up Ball State. Oh no! Great.
All right, guys. Apologize. I'm having some technical issues going on and whatnot.
It's all good, Brody.
I wanted to weigh in on one thing. If it was 2 top SEC teams playing on Saturday, it would be a 7:30 game. That's what I got to say about the Big Ten. Also,
fair enough.
I know you guys are going to get into the NFL here soon. So I want to say I really look forward to the Titans versus Patriots when they go over their teams. And you guys know me. I do not like the Patriots. So tighten up.
Mac Jones season.
Hey, I have to bounce early, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, man.
Oh, and Big Ten sucks.
There you go.
Word.
Michael's having some technical difficulties, so we're just going to finish out the rest of this podcast, this episode. He did have on the agenda to talk about playoff talk. I know we've talked about that a little bit. Does anybody else have anything else really to say? I know there's, a lot of football still going on. There's a lot to talk about and say. I did talk to one of my friends the other day, and he said that he thinks that there's a chance that Notre Dame gets in, and I will boycott the playoff if that happens. So I didn't want to say that. And that's why I took when we were talking earlier. I was like, I could see maybe Oklahoma State getting in over a 2-loss team because I think they would, with wins over Oklahoma and assuming Baylor in the Big 12 championship game, I think those are quality enough wins for them to leapfrog Notre Dame and potentially be in that spot if Bama picks up another loss to Georgia, depending on how close it is. Just my opinion. We'll see how it goes. I don't think we'll get any resolution to that until the conference championship game because I don't think anybody that's in the playoff picture is going to lose this week, unless you want to consider Michigan in the playoff picture. But Titans, Patriots. Colby, you got anything on that one?
I've got the Patriots by 6. I feel like they're running low for us. We just got a limp, towards the end of the year. Try to get everybody healthy. If AJ's, I want him to sit. Even if he's a little bit banged up, I want to get everybody back healthy. So, we'll see. Patriots are starting to look really good. Last week's performance, didn't really inspire me. So, the funny part about this game is Belichick is known for taking away team's best player. And I don't know who that is for us this week, honestly. Like skill position, if AJ doesn't play,
it's probably Vrabel.
Yeah, he probably is. He probably got the most touchdowns outside of AP on that team, on offense at least. But yeah, honestly, I'm not looking forward to this game. Yeah, I think it could be rough.
Yeah. So here's a good question for you. I can't get my thing to load here. So the Patriots are on top of that division now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
After losing to the Texans and knowing the injuries that Tennessee has, do you feel like there's any uncertainty moving forward as to whether or not they have that division still locked up, especially considering the Colts look so good against Buffalo?
Really, I'm not that concerned. Then I know here I am saying that we're going to lose to the Patriots, but I know we got Houston again. We got Jacksonville again. The schedule's not that tough, and I know I'll probably eat those words, but I don't have faith in Carson Wentz. I know Jonathan Taylor can backpack that team for a ways, but he's not Derrick Henry. He's not going to completely carry it to the playoffs, so I'm not that concerned.
Gotcha. Would you argue Pittman's the best receiver Wentz has had?
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah,
and
I get it.
Give me another year. Pittman can ball out again next year. We'll talk.
Yeah, in a different way. Yeah. All right, Matt. We got the Saints Bills this weekend. How are you feeling? Everybody saw.
Yeah, it's going to be awful. If the Saints win or lose, I'm going to hate it regardless because
why?
At this point it's meaningless. So just put me out of my misery.
Okay.
Cut the excess contract stuff. The sad thing is, like, looking forward to next year, it's going to be another off season where the Saints can make no moves because they have no salary cap room. That's been the story for like 3 years. And it's going to happen again. You see this great free agent and you're just like, wow, we could really use that. But it's not going to happen. So, yeah, the Saints are – I mean, the Bills have looked vulnerable, but the Saints are looking like a bottom half team in the league right now. So, they were 5-2 at one point, and I was just saying they're winning games. Well, now here they are 5-5. They're losing games. So,
yeah,
it's pointless.
At what point do we say that Sean Payton is a good coach, but he's maybe not doing the best with personnel and contract negotiations?
Okay. Well, he probably doesn't have a ton to do with contract negotiations. That's going to be the team owner. So or it's going to the manager, Mickey Loomis.
But yeah.
Here's the thing. I think Sean Payton's doing a decent job.
I would too.
He took a 4th-string quarterback and beat the Tampa Bay Bucks. I'm okay with that. You've lost your team's 3 star players on offense. You lost MT, you lost Kamara, and you lost your 1st, 2nd, and 3rd string QB. I'll give Sean Payton some slack for this year. He's proved he can coach. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I never said he couldn't coach. I feel like the salary cap.
You implied it.
No, I was talking about getting personnel. like the way that they sign people and stuff like that.
I mean, again, they don't have money to right now. Talk to Mickey Loomis about that.
Yeah, the Taysom Hill thing would be the most bothersome piece.
It's frustrating, but it's what it is. What can I do about it?
Nothing.
Circle of influence.
I'm going to be optimistic. It's because we play the Dolphins, but I think we'll win. I think Cam will play well enough, and I think the Dolphins are a team that the defense can contain. And we definitely should win this game. If we can't beat the Dolphins this week, we just need to hang it up for the season. I don't know what that looks for, but if we can't beat the Dolphins, we need to hang it up for the season. And
I feel like Dolphins. You go ahead, Colby. You go ahead.
No, and it's probably going to be what you're going to say. The Dolphins have played well, and I know we got another week of Cam, but Tua's not playing bad. It's kind of like Jalen. Jalen's not that Jalen's figured it out. I mean, it's still kind of rough, but he's not screwing up and he's making plays happen. And Tua's kind of doing the same. Tua's played pretty well here lately. The defense is still not what it was last year. And it's like Gaskin has one good week, one bad week, one good week. You can look it up. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's crazy. But, Dolphins shouldn't be slept on. I think they're kind of like not as good as the Eagles, but they're on the up. And Carolina, they should win. I got them by 3. But, it could be a good game. I expect it to be a good game.
Yeah, the Dolphins are just kind of – don't get me wrong. They're not a good team.
No.
But they're one of those teams who is very, very slowly and steadily improving, especially as Tua gets more comfortable. And, Tua is not the quarterback he was supposed to be. I don't think he's ever fully recovered from that hip injury. I don't know if he can fully recover from that. But they're just that team that they could beat you. I mean, they did it to the Ravens. They beat the Ravens, and nobody saw that coming. So just look out for them. It's not set in stone.
Yeah, they lost to the Falcons. I've lost. Yeah.
Did I say they were a top 3 team in the NFL? That is not what I said.
I'm just saying, if the Panthers can't win this week, we shouldn't think that.
I'm sure Titans fans felt that way about the Jets and Texans.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're later in the season. It's different, and not to mention we're not even 500 at this point. So a win going into our bye week would be incredibly important for us to be 500 going into that. If not, we're 2 games away from 500. It's not looking good. And we've got Tampa twice, and Tampa's definitely going to beat us the first time. And I thought we'd beat them the second time because I thought Tampa would be sitting everybody, but who knows how that's going to play out now. Anyways, I don't know why you're shaking your head. No. Anything else for the NFL this weekend? You guys want to dive into some upsets?
Let's go upsets.
All right, take it, Cole.
I'll go ahead and say Michael's upset was Oregon State over Oregon. I could see this happening. I watched Oregon State play against Arizona State, and they looked halfway decent. And Oregon looked like crap. They looked really terrible. Lost me some money as well. So don't gamble. No more gambling. It's my last bet ever. Oregon.
Can't wait for you to be sitting here on Thanksgiving and just being like,
last bet ever.
This under is looking really attractive right now.
All right, so that was Michael's. Mine is pretty interesting. I have East Carolina over Cincinnati. No rhyme or reason behind this. I just think it would be fun. And I like ECU's logo. It looks really neat. So I like chaos. You get actually I don't even know if that would make chaos. Cincinnati winning out would be more chaos. But I don't know. It'd be fun to see. So that's mine.
No, you got it.
Alrighty. I got LSU over Texas A&M. Game at Death Valley, night game, 7 p.m. I'm hyped for this one. Just an SEC West matchup. Death Valley at night is an unreal environment, and you better come ready to play because that place gets loud. So, yeah, I think LSU pulls an upset. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. You know what? I hope Edo just wins it, and I hope he wins his bowl game as long as he's not playing somebody I like. Good for Edo. Like just at LSU, win it. I don't care. You're on your way out. You hate to see a guy like that not win his last games. Anyways, I was so close to picking Boston College beating Wake. I was so close, and that would open the door for Clemson to get back into the ACC championship game because that would what.
But please no.
And that's why I didn't pick it because I don't want that to happen. But would anybody be shocked? Would anybody be shocked? I don't think so. Boston College is only a 5-point underdog. Wake Forest has looked pretty vulnerable as of late. They were overrated to begin with. Again, I almost put them on my upset watch, but I feel better about North Carolina beating NC State, and so I'm going to go with that one. And and I guess we'll talk about our games of the week. Michael had the Titans-Patriots. I think it goes without saying that that's going to be a game that him and Colby are both going to be watching. And that's his game of the week. What do you guys have?
Go ahead, Matt.
I got Colts Bucks. Pretty excited for that one. Colts are really kind of starting to insert themselves into an actual playoff contender conversation. You're seeing Jonathan Taylor. Damn you. Oh gosh. Oh, we're gonna have so much editing to do.
That's not the first time you've hurt themselves and me just like have to bite my tongue. I lost it that time.
I've never heard myself say it, but as I was saying that, I was like, insert themselves. All right, we're gonna start over, but I'm gonna say the exact same words.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Bucks and Colts. Colts have really emerged as a team that's worked themselves into the playoff conversation. Damn it! Oh,
bad.
it's not even funny. I just can't look at you.
I know. Laughing.
Either one of you both are laughing.
I was laughing.
I wasn't laughing that time.
All right.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Colts and Bucks. Colts are really looking like a solid team. They're hitting their stride late in the season. It's what you want to see. Bucks have just been that team from week one. So Derek, go to hell. Okay. I cannot breathe.
I cannot breathe.
I had to
All
look
right.
that whole time.
Last take, or we're just skipping my segment.
All right. All I had to do is look at you, and then we.
Yeah, stop that.
Don't look at him.
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
I'm gonna just look at my computer. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Colts Bucks. Colts have shown they're the real deal now. They're really hitting their stride late in the season. Bucks have been that team since week one. Powerhouse from the AFC and NFC meeting when they're both playing pretty good football. So let's see what happens.
Yep, it's a good one. I've got Rams Packers. I know that's not like a shock or anything, but you got 2-3 lost teams. Both have had a couple of rough weeks, kind of. Packers have had a lot going on. They lost a tough one, on Sunday. Rams haven't looked their best. So, we'll see. Two of the best teams in the NFC. I think the Rams have to get back on track. I think they're still probably the best team in the NFC, but I got them by, probably 3 points. And I think Derek just threw Ellie in the cage for something.
Hmm.
Yep.
We're
Ellie.
not going to talk about it. Yeah, we're not going to talk about it.
Ugh.
So my game of the week is Mississippi State and Ole Miss. I think it's going to be an exciting game. Should be a high-scoring game. I think it's going to be, and it's on Thanksgiving too, which just makes it cool. You're not going to be distracted by any other games. So I think it'll be interesting to watch two of the better offensive minds in college football go head-to-head, especially when it's in a rivalry game.
I like that.
You guys have any other thoughts for this weekend?
Uh,
I do have an inspirational quote.
I was going to say, spay and neuter your pets.
There we go. I like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But she's in trouble right now. The inspirational quote that I have: don't ever, for any reason, sign a guy that doesn't know what position he is to 4 years, $40 million to $95 million. That's my quote.
Good quote.
Yeah, that's because the Panthers have never made a signing mistake, right?
Never.
It's one thing when you did it
Darnold.
the first time, you've done it the second time. Shame on
Bridgewater,
you. Only
Darnold.
one shame on you.
Yeah. They did.
Bridgewater,
Shame
Darnold,
on me.
Cam.
That's the same.
Cam, Bridgewater, Darnold, Cam.
I didn't say we didn't make mistakes, but let's pay Taysom Hill way too much money to extend Taysom Hill with way too much money. Gross.
You know, you'll hear no argument from me.
At least he's playing for the Saints, unlike Darnold and
Ouch. Truth hurts.
Well, technically, if you list Cam, Sam, Teddy, and Cam, still there's two of them that are still playing because it's Cam and Cam. Anyways, what?
Still paying Teddy.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know we're still playing Teddy. Anyways, any other thoughts before we kind of do the sign off here?
That's it.
So, what is it Michael says here? Like, follow, subscribe, comment. Let us know what you guys think. Is Taysom Hill the most overpaid player in the National Football League now for what he does and contributes to a team? Is Sean Payton and the Saints organization doing a poor job of putting teams on the field?
Good
What
Lord.
else do I keep saying? What?
Stop. Hey.
Yeah, just sorry. That news honestly did shock me today, though. It did shock me.
Yeah, it surprised me. I know they had restructured his contract towards the beginning of this year, but I can't remember at the time what that contract looked like. But none of it makes sense. You just kind of learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
You'll
But
get there.
anyways, comment down below with what games you're looking forward to. Let us know who you like for the Heisman. Let us know what you think about the playoffs and who's going to end up in the college football playoff. But anyways, guys, until next time.
Peace.
Peace.